Hello guys, so the Nitecore NU20 have been like my favorite headlamp for the last years now. It's just a great package with a great output and everything like that. But last year I believe I found the replacement for this, and you don't have to look too far. It's the Nitecore NU25. It's like the predecessor to the NU20. And I actually thought I had made a video on this already, but I was just checking through the videos on my channel, and it turned out that I hadn't made a video on this awesome headlamp. So the good thing about the NU20 is that it got now a upgraded LED, main LED, and it's also got a bigger battery package. And it's still 360 lumens, but now it's 610 milliamps, so it gives you around 700 lumens at the highest setting, not the turbo setting. The beam range is 81 meter, the same as the NU20. Max run time at 1 lumen is 160 hours, which is a long time, and the 1 lumen rating is useful for if you are in a pitch black place, standing still or something, not walking and such. And it's also IP65, or IP66, so it also can take some water, but it's not waterproof, but yeah. So the cool thing about the NU20 is that it got like this 3-diode setup. You have one main diode here, which gives you up to 360 lumens and 300 lumens in the high setting. And then you also got two other smaller diodes, one with pure red light and also another diode with a much higher color rendering index. So that would probably be nice if you're like in a tent and want to read something and such. You will have much better colors hitting you back into your eyes. You won't have that bluish, whitish color that you get from the main diode. So the main diode itself, it performs up to 360 lumens, but that is in turbo mode, and I don't really think anybody with these headlamps actually use the turbo mode. So the important setting is the high mode. I was wrong earlier. The high mode is 190 lumens, which is more than enough. For most occasions I have tested this while out running in a pitch dark forest, and it's enough light to be able to run over rough terrain and see the obstacles, but it's on the limit for me for running. I would maybe wish there was a little bit higher lumen running at a rough course, but otherwise it just works fine. But if you're having a slower pace on a more even surface, it's going to be just fine. And the red function, you push this here, that works really nicely in tight situations where you don't want to have your night vision to suffer, because red light doesn't affect your night vision as much as other colors of light. I don't know why, but it probably have something to do in the eyes, of course. So for me, I would be maybe cool in the future to maybe sometime have useful for this if you're like out flying and you want some light up some maps and such in the cockpit of a plane, for example. You don't want to have too much light in there. I don't know, but what I have used it for is if I've been out bicycling and I haven't had any other rear light source, I just stripped this piece to my bike, and I've used this as a bike light. Just really nice. And then you can also have it flashing like this, so then it works nice as a bike light in my opinion. And to turn on the high color rendering index LED, you push on this the right button here, you hold it in, otherwise you switch through the normal modes, and yeah. So the user interface is really simple on this, and you don't really have to think while you're using this, and you learn this really fast. And the main diode got this small orange peel reflector which have a 100-degree beam angle, and as I said, it works for if you're running, walking, but it's also really nice if you're like working on your car and such, in a dark place, and want some further lighting to see down and into crevices and such. I've used these kinds of headlamps for that a lot when working on my car. I also know my father likes to have one of these headlamps during the winter when he's out working, when it's dark outside. It just works perfect for that also. It's summer now in Norway, and it doesn't really get too dark outside, so it's hard filming and showing you how it performs outside, because it's not too dark. But we can see this is the lowest 1 lumen setting, and if you are close to something, you'll have no problem seeing stuff, but you can't really walk around, I would say, with this setting. But keep in mind you have 160 hours of runtime having a look at different stuff. So, and turning it up, this is really useful if you're just out walking. And the next high setting, 190 lumen, this is the setting I would use if I were to maybe walk in the woods where you have rough terrain that you need to see, and also if you're running and you need to see where you're going. You get a fair amount of light, and it should be more than enough for most people. And you also have high if you hold in it again, but then it will also turn itself back down when it gets too hot. And the high color rendering index 1, I'll find it again, we can see that the light is much more yellow, and you get much more truer colors shining back to your eyes, which is useful for looking at things. And yeah, and also the red, that's the lowest setting. Of course, this is a fire extinguisher, so that gets too red, but we have this thing here, no problem seeing here, and my night vision also probably gets better and better as the time goes. And then we can see the high, no problem seeing anything down, and then with the high red you could probably also walk around, but walking around with a red red light like this in a dark place also make it a little bit scary, I would say, if we compare it to a more nicer white color.